Hello, everyone. Welcome to Friday. I'm John Bachman. Bianca, great to see you.
Great to see you, John. And yes, thanks for joining us. It is a busy Friday. We are talking about, of course, the fierce debate over Roe v. Wade. It does continue. Democrats are reportedly looking at changing now some of the language that they use when discussing the issue. It's a departure from the safe, legal, and rare messaging used during the former U.S. President Bill Clinton's campaign in 1992. For the very latest, let's get out to our congressional correspondent, Kilmeny Dukart, joining us live from Capitol Hill with more on this. Good afternoon, Kilmeny.
Bianca, John, Democratic campaigns have historically used the language safe, legal, and rare in what analysts say perhaps was then an attempt not to alienate an individual who supports abortion, but perhaps has a moral conflict with it. And now that Democratic language may be evolving, wanting to drop the use of the word rare, maybe saying that that's a stigma around somebody that would perhaps have an abortion or would denote shame on somebody that chooses to have the procedure. A Politico reporter has posted what appears to be new guidance from the House pro-choice caucus to House Democrats saying don't use choice, say decision. Replace safe, legal, and rare with safe, legal, and accessible. Don't say unwanted pregnancy, say unexpected pregnancy. And the pro-choice caucus seems to be enacting that language. In one of their latest press releases, they say Americans' right to abortion care and every person deserves the right to make their own decisions. And that would mean that language that Democratic Senator Patty Murray used back in 2015 was outdated.
So let me be very clear. This bill will not be used as an opportunity for Republicans to double down on their efforts to restrict a woman's health care choices.
A Republican strategist and Newsmax contributor Mercedes Schlapp tweeted this: there was a time when Democrats viewed abortion as something that should be safe, legal, and rare. Today they view it as a moral good that should have no restrictions, be funded by taxpayers, and celebrated as righteous. Abortion has become a sacrament to the left. Bianca, John, one of the questions that I have is whether the House Pro-Choice Caucus is going to change its name to the House Decision Caucus. As a reporter, I'm going to stick with anti and pro-abortion. But just a short time ago, House Democrats held a press conference on the Capitol steps regarding Roe v. Wade, and they all appeared to be singing from the same song sheet.
I'm with you, Kilmeny, on how you phrase it, though. Thank you so much for that live update on Capitol Hill. John?
Thank you, Bianca. The White House announcing new moves today to try and ease the ongoing baby formula shortage. Families across the country are scrambling. We've talked to a few of them here on Newsmax this week. The new White House strategy includes urging states to expand formula access, crack down on price gouging, they claim, and also increase imports. Republicans say the White House is failing in their response. Almost 40% of baby formula brands ran out at retail stores across the country last month. And here's President Biden when asked about the shortage yesterday.
Sir, message to families looking for baby formula. Do you have a message to those families?
Yes, not in this case.
Understood.
A couple hours ago.
Understood. Thank you, sir.
Head up to dinner.
So not the right time. Yesterday, Biden was hosting leaders there from the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Well, how about White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, who will be giving her last press briefing today, by the way? Does she have any answers?
President Biden has directed the administration to work urgently to ensure that infant formula is safe and available for families across the country. This is work that's been underway for months.
Just the very practical, immediate question of if you can't find formula and you need it for your baby to eat, what should they be doing?
We would certainly encourage any parent who has concerns about their child's health or well-being to call their doctor or pediatrician.
All right, let's bring in Texas Congressman Michael Burgess now. He's a member of the House Energy and Commerce Committee. He's also a doctor, medical doctor as well. And that committee is holding a hearing on baby formula coming up on May 25th. Congressman, great to have you with us.
Yeah, I guess you have to ask. Thank you. I guess you have to ask yourself, what's the rush? Two weeks seems like a little bit of a long
ask that to parents.
Gap.
They will know. It seems like the White House finally got serious about this as soon as we learned that pallets of baby formula were being shipped down to these migrant detention facilities. In fact, you tweeted about this. Here is President Biden. Is he expecting parents to travel to the border just to provide nutrition for their kids? This is bad, Congressman. A bad look, and also just bad because parents can't get access to the baby formula they need.
It's absolutely unacceptable. Look, we've been through the pandemic. We're used to the FDA being overly bureaucratic and slow, but this is one of those times where they need to move with some dispatch. They need to be agile. This is a question of getting a plant inspected and back up online. It shouldn't take weeks and weeks to do that. They have disinfectants. They have the ability to get it going. This should be a top priority for the administration and for the Food and Drug Administration.
Let's also talk about something I think a lot of people find appalling is the Biden administration's push for these safe smoking kits. Now, back in February, the Washington Free Beacon reported that these kits from the Department of Health and Human Services would be available. They were to provide drug paraphernalia, but Jen Psaki says this was all a big conspiracy theory. Here she is.
This policy does not allow for crack pipes to be included. I would just note that this is a bit of a conspiracy theory that's been spread out there. It's not accurate. There's important drug treatment programs for people who have been suffering from what we've seen as an epidemic across the country, and money is not used for crack pipes.
But the Free Beacon, of course, followed up on this, and they found, yes, crack pipes, in fact, had been distributed in safe smoking kits up and down the East Coast. So there was a plan for crack pipes, Congressman, but not for baby formula, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. This is so wrong on so many levels. It used to be called being an enabler. You don't want to facilitate someone's ability to harm themselves to this degree, which is exactly what a crack pipe kit would do. The government knows better than this. The Drug Enforcement Administration knows better than this. Department of Health and Human Services knows better for this. So safe injection sites, safe smoking kits, these are not the types of efforts that the government should be involved in. I agree with the secretary or with the press secretary that there are effective treatment regimens, but they don't include safe smoke. They don't include safe injection sites.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of Americans would really question the use of their taxpayer dollars for something like this. And is there anything Congress can do to prevent it? I know you guys are trying to prevent the money from flowing to that Disinformation Governance Board, but it seems like this would be a place you want to stop the money from flowing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, right now we're in the process and committee of reauthorizing the Food and Drug Administration. I've been a little concerned about how passive the committee has been up to this point with the Food and Drug Administration. Look, they are requiring us to get our work done so that they can get their funding, but we need to have a deliverable from them, one of which would be safe baby formula. The other would be don't get involved in enabling people's drug habits.
Yeah, seems like common sense to most of us. I don't know about this administration, but let's leave that for a sec, because I want to talk also about this $40 billion Ukrainian aid bill. Senator Rand Paul blocked it last night, and here's why.
Americans are feeling the pain, and Congress seems intent only on adding to that pain by shoveling more money out the door as fast as they can. The cost of this package we are voting on today is more than the U.S. spent during the first year of the U.S. conflict in Afghanistan. Congress authorized force, and the president sent troops into the conflict. The same cannot be said of Ukraine.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who feel like we need to support Ukraine, but we are concerned about the oversight of this money. I know you've expressed some of those same concerns as well.
Yes, look, the oversight, the fact that we have not had a general briefing on this from the administration since late January or early February, when their assessment was Kiev's going to fall in 3 days. Well, they didn't, and the Ukrainians are still holding out against the Russians. I'd say that's a good thing. But on the other hand, we need to know what the plan is. Look, I approach this vote as a national security vote. It is in the interest of the United States that Russia be held off in this adventurism that they're involved in. It is important that the sea lanes stay open from Ukraine because they do supply food for a great part of the world. But on the other hand, we do need to have the discussion with the administration about what is the long-term goal here. And I don't disagree with Senator Paul. There does need to be oversight, because what we learned in Afghanistan is you can spend a lot of money inappropriately in a very big hurry, and no one wants to see that.
Congressman Michael Burgess, great to see you. Thanks so much.
Good deal. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.